Hello. Well, I have some very good news to impart. Today, well, yesterday, no, this morning, I went and talked to the head of maintenance at the Westward Ho and told him the condition that our pool table is in. One pocket spills the balls out, they run all over the floor, and to my great delight, he said he would spend some money on the pool table and fix it. So that was wonderful news, and it just goes to show if you talk to everybody about a problem, somebody might be willing to fix it, because I didn't see how we were going to do any repairs on the pool table, because we don't have enough money right at the moment, and because the leadership is in dispute, and we are not, well, it just looked as though there was no way people could play on this table very well. And I played on it last night, and the balls rolled out there. So I also told him that frame, I forget the name you call it, that you line the balls up with, was missing. We had two, now we don't have any. Well, I did hear that the person who checked out the balls, a set of new balls that we have in the video room, checked them out, did have one frame, but Michael, head of maintenance, said he would look for another frame because he had already supplied us with one. So I am so happy because, as I told him, I do have a practice set of balls, but I don't have an 8-ball. I'm going to have to use a double, one of those balls for an 8-ball. But this will do to practice, because I'm going to be playing in tournaments now over to the American Legion or the VFW post on 7th Avenue, close to Van Buren, which I decided that one of the main reasons I'm going to get back into the tournaments is because I need more protection at the Westward Ho. What protection I've got, I feel there might be in need of protection. So I need to get acquainted, a lot better acquainted with about 20 veterans. Now, I've seen 20 veterans play in this tournament, and I've already told them some problems. And in fact, when I was missing and didn't play in the tournaments, 2 of them dropped by the Westward Ho for other reasons, but when they drove up, I walked out the door and just talked to them. And they told me, why haven't you been back? Well, I thought to myself, oh my, this is where I can get more protection. So if anything happens to me, 20 veterans will be ready to act. If I get any threats, if I feel like I'm in the least bit of danger, or my protection is in danger, I will eventually notify them what's happening. So I intend to keep them informed if I feel any immediate danger to myself. I lived in a two very violent subsidized housing. So I know the people can get shot in them, residents. And I know that if there's threats, death threats, all kinds of big conflicts, yelling, hollering, uh, big clashes. This is dangerous. And the complex I'm living in now is not nearly as dangerous as the other two. I have not heard gunshots here, maybe 3 or 4 times in 20 years. Now that to me is good. That's a big improvement. But that doesn't mean there isn't conflict here. It just hasn't accelerated to the point that guns are. But if there's death threats, that possibility is weapons, that possibility comes into play. So that is my big concern. And I really can't think of any better bunch of people to call upon. Can you? Oh my. Times we live in. Well, I have to tell you, when President Trump came here, I did not sleep for 2 days. I was so worried about protesters and what might happen with interactions with the police, who would get the blame. I knew that President Trump would get a lot of blame if it happened on his watch. And oh my goodness, I thought, I hope he doesn't come to town too often. Because there did happen to be quite a lot happen. So you've always got to be prepared for violence to break out, especially in times like we're having, where there has been considerable violence and heated reactions and people clashing and clanging all over the place. So it seems like a good idea to think about protection. And I'm too outspoken. I mean, if you're a writer and you write about controversial issues, that's going to put you at a greater risk for violence done to your person than ordinary. You just have to accept that there's risk involved in speaking up about issues. And my issues have been very controversial. I believe in nonviolence, but that not necessarily mean that I'm going to get that response. So anyway, and in keeping with this, I saw that the sociology department, which is called the collaboratory, where they're interacting with residents, their subject today happened to be how to deal with the conflict in your life. And I thought, oh wow, boy, I need that session. So for the first time I attended this session and discussed the problem of violence. And I revealed that I had belonged to a family where one side of the family were heavy drinkers, quite a number of the family. And when you mix alcohol and tempers, you lose your temper and you're drunk, you're apt to do a lot worse than if you can hang on to it sobriety. And because, of course, alcohol loosens inhibitions. And so I think the students we ended up discussing people's problem with conflict in problems that have staggered mankind for centuries. So I think the students were like, oh, this is what counseling people's all about. They've really got big problems. Yes. This is a complex that houses the chronically mentally ill. You know, this is more like they have accepted those residents. And there's always a problem when some of these people get upset and, well, not taking their medication is blamed, but I say the person up here is the one that decided not to take the medication. And he was on medication, or she, when she decided it. So I don't believe in the panacea of the miracle of drugs like a lot of people do, because people are constantly deciding not to take their medication even while they're on medication. so, so anyway, we have plenty to talk about today, believe me. And I felt the need, I felt the need to try to deal with the violence. And I myself am trying to change. I don't think it's seemly for me to be getting in big fights. And it's certainly not good for my health at this stage in my life. So I've had to learn that I too can make mistakes. And I can too get out of control. I mean, nobody's perfect. So we discussed that. And I thought it was a very helpful session. Very. Because I looked around me and I could see people, residents there that I knew had issues with temper, or had them in their past, and so they're recovering alcoholics. They were, So I thought it was a good day altogether, and I'm happy about the outcome.